Hi class, Mr. Cardinal here with lesson 1-6, comparing and ordering decimals. Today you are going to learn how to compare decimals by using place value and ordering decimals by using a number line. We will start with comparing decimals. When comparing decimals, the number one thing to remember is to line up your decimal point. By lining up the decimal point, you are lining up all of the place values. For example, the two numbers that you are given, 6 and 241 thousandths and 6 and 285 thousandths, the decimal points are lined up. The ones column, we have a digit of 6, so there are 6 ones in both of those numbers. We also have 2 tenths in both of those numbers. But as you can see in the hundredths column, we have two different digits, two different values. We have 4 hundredths and 8 hundredths. 4 hundredths is smaller than 8 hundredths, so therefore 6 and 285 thousandths is larger than 6 and 241 thousandths. I have 4 numbers that I have written down on a piece of graph paper. Graph paper is excellent when comparing decimals because you can simply and easily visually see the decimals lined up. Now I am going to cover up all of my numbers. Now that the decimal points are lined up, you can see that my first number is the same, and this number is in the tens column. They all have 3 tens. All 4 numbers also have a 5 in the ones column. So far I have 35 as a whole number in all of these numbers. My decimal points are lined up. In my tenths column, all of the numbers have 4 tenths. The hundredths column is where we notice a difference. This is important because now is when we compare. And we compare the digits that are in the hundredths column. I can see that my middle 2 digits have a 3. So I know that those two numbers are smaller than the outside numbers. So I'm just going to look at my middle 2 numbers now. And since my 35 and 435 thousandths has a digit in the thousandths column, I'm going to put a 0. Because 430 thousandths is the same as 43 hundredths. And when I do that, I can visually see that 5 is greater than 0. So my smallest number is 35 and 430 thousandths, or 43 hundredths. My next number is 35 and 435 thousandths. Now I have the bottom number and the top number. Again, the hundredths column is where I notice a difference. I have 4 hundredths and 5 hundredths. So 4 hundredths will come next. So 35 and 44 hundredths. And the final one would be at the bottom. So that is how you put decimals in order from smallest to largest. Next, I'm going to real briefly share with you how to order decimals on a number line. When you see a number line such as this, it begins with 3.5 and it is increasing by 1/10. So 3.5, then 3.6, 3.7, 3.8. And you can see that 3.572, even though it has a digit in the thousandths column, it is still smaller than 3.6. Let me show you an example of a number line. Okay, and I'm going to take these two numbers, okay, 344 thousandths and 342 thousandths, and I'm going to try to compare them. I'm going to do that by, first of all, placing those points on my number line. So 344 thousandths would appear here, and 342 thousandths, 1, 2, would appear here. When I visually see it on a number line, I know then that 342 thousandths is smaller than 344 thousandths. You can also think of this as pretending the decimal point is not there. 344 is greater than 342. Take a look at the next set of numbers. We have 349 thousandths, would appear here, and 346 thousandths would appear here. So looking at that number line, I know then that 346 thousandths is smaller than 349 thousandths. So 349 thousandths is greater than 346 thousandths. Next we have 352 thousandths. Again, 0.35, 1, 2. So this is 0.352, 0.354 would appear here. So when comparing these two, I know that 354 thousandths is greater than 352 thousandths. So that is another example of comparing decimals using a number line. For your homework, I would like for you to open up a document or create a document, and I want you to write a minimum of 3 sentences explaining to me what you learned from this video. Thank you, have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.